It's John Pollock here with John Ramdeen and Robin Black. On Friday night at UFC 207, TJ Dillashaw got a big win at 135 pounds. I would say dominating John Lineker over the course of 3 rounds. I thought the second round was a 10-8 for Dillashaw. His takedowns just timed them perfectly throughout this fight. And John Lineker was largely he was essentially relying on toughness to get through a lot of this. We even saw a calf slicer in the final round by TJ Dillashaw. He was getting very innovative, I thought, with some of his submission attempts and just seemed to really flow just in this fight. And John Lineker wasn't able to initiate his power and just dictate his pace.
Oh, I just loved the up and down of TJ Dillashaw in this fight. How seamless going from the stand-up to the takedowns to control, battering John Lineker on the ground. I had a feeling he probably could have lit him up even more and went for the knockout, but why mess around? He knows that John Lineker's biggest weapon is his hands. Why fight fire with fire when you know you can take this fight down to the ground? Your eye is on the bigger prize, that 135-pound championship. Smash this guy up, do exactly what you did, so when people at the end of that fight is like, holy smokes, that's the guy that should be fighting for the bantamweight title.
Yeah, when you're doing the math and you're like, I'm starting to feel like on the feet. I'm 70, 80% in control. I've got an 80% chance on the ground on top of him, I'm almost 100%. I think I'll do that. Listen, there's something weird about this fight as I went back and watched it. And Dwayne and TJ Dillashaw are perfectionists, not to a fault, but they're perfectionists. Everything wants to get better. I will guarantee you that they are looking at this fight and saying, I don't know, man, we were like a B- on the night. Imagine how scary that is. There were hesitation moments. There were moments where TJ didn't let himself free on the feet because he wanted, somewhere he felt pressure that everything must be a moment of great, sweeping, epic nature, you know? And instead, if he's just relaxed and letting it all unfold, he'd have that guy out there in a round and a half. There was hesitation. There was tightness and expression in TJ Dillashaw. That was a B- TJ Dillashaw, and he murdered that guy. Yeah. He just ran that man. When they go in there and they look at that and go, here's all the things we did well, and oh man, we can do even better, be afraid. Definitely be afraid. I got to see him and Cody fight after that. Brilliant performance of Garbrandt. That we got to see.
Do you feel some of that with TJ's game plan? I mean, those takedowns were just, I don't want to say effortless. It
looked effortless.
But I mean,
it's a lifetime.
The timing was perfect. And why stand with John Lineker and keep that door open when those takedowns are there? He was, unlike Johnny Hendricks, I mean, TJ Dillashaw used his takedowns to just begin his offense on top and was constantly active on top of John Lineker. And Lineker was just trying to survive off of his back.
True, but if you remember in that third round, it looked like Dillashaw started getting tired towards the end of the round, and Lineker was still hunting,
shots to the body,
still moving towards this guy. So even after beating this guy on the ground, you beat him up standing, you smash him on the ground, you let this guy get up in the third round, and he's still looking for the finish. Terrifying. So that's why Dillashaw had to play this game. Yeah, like we said, we all felt that he probably could have got the knockout if he continued to play that game. But even with that ground assault, John Lineker still remained tough and still remained, in his mind anyways, that he wanted to get that knockout win.
But Dillashaw said, hey, there's maybe Dom and maybe Garbrandt at the top, but there's none of the rest of you. I'll keep knocking them all off. But even as you're looking about strategies and tactics and different things that you're going to put together in it, you're weighing your options. Yeah, once we find out how this goes on the ground, let's figure that out. There's another game that you're playing, which is this is one in a series of dominoes of your life of battles. And, you never sacrifice this one or risk this one because you know that something is happening later, but if they can both work together. If we can take you down, we're going to maximize our chance to win. We're also going to remind everybody else in the future that we are going to crush people on the ground. I can take you down. If your next opponent is reminded, oh, right, this guy's a badass wrestler and I don't want to be on the ground with him, that can be laying early advantages for the next fight. When you start working your level change into the early rounds of that, he either responds to it, which opens up your ability to hurt him, or he doesn't respond to it and you take him down. Awesome. He re-rounded out his game for everybody watching, including his next couple opponents.
So cool.
Is there any possibility that Dominic Cruz gets the immediate rematch, or do you feel that Garbrandt Dillashaw? I think that's the fresh fight everyone wants to see. I think we could see Dominic fight somebody else at bantamweight, or just a weight. But I mean, Dominic Cruz, he's been the dominant bantamweight throughout this entire tenure of bantamweights in the UFC, save for the time he's been hurt. So you could certainly, if you're Dominic Cruz, I think make that argument that you deserve the rematch.
Oh, 100%. This is a real good problem to have if you're the UFC. You have Team Alpha Male versus the former Team Alpha Male with Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw. You can put TJ Dillashaw and Dominic Cruz as the #1 contender to end up fighting Cody Garbrandt. You can immediately have Dominic Cruz rematching Cody Garbrandt. It's a good situation at 135 pounds.
I know we've got another one. Look for it on our YouTube channel. We're just going to have a conversation about Bisping and Woodley and about Tony and Khabib and all these things. A lot of the time right now, a lot of us, the matchmakers, the fan makers, hey, this is the fight we need to see. We have to remember these are humans. So, oh man, Dom should be next. Well, Dom might just be saying, oh man, I need 4 months off. That changes. There are all these variables, and none of the least important variable is what do we think? what do we think should be coming up? I have a feeling Dom will say, give me some time, let me grow, and let me come back a new guy. And then all of a sudden, Garbrandt is saying, I want to fight Conor McGregor or Jose Aldo. That's very in vogue right now, is win the title and right away want to move to a different weight class or fight a super fight or whatever. In the end, I think what we'll probably see over the next couple months is the UFC try to grab the reins on all these guys creating their own storylines. And trust me, I'm for these guys doing whatever they want. If you can get a Conor McGregor fight, you went from making $100,000 to making $2 million. It's Black Panty Night, you know?
That's it. TJ Dillashaw gets the win over John Lineker, and we will see what is next in the bantamweight division.